Hey guys, Levy Freeman here. We're back again playing some more Hearts of Iron 4 Kaiserreich mod over here. Comité du Salut National. The arrest of the Lion confirmed. A known supporter of Mordac took the stand in front of the assembly. So I think I did notice my recorder here. Like I think I might have caught that late. I think I ran out of time there. But we did lose. We did lose Patain. We didn't win this fucking stupid mini game over here. Like I think we would have had to like not take this and like take in decision options. Didn't cost us political power. So we'd be able to like actually win that. It's like I really hate these stupid mini games. Like I think you should just pick your focus or like pick your election event or whatever it is. Like gets you on the right path. So having to do these dumb mini games over here. And like really at this point, if I wasn't recording this, I would just I would rage quit and then like save start again and like try and do something differently to make that win. So our boy over here, I'm not sure if the event box popped up or not, but our boy over here, Mordac or whatever, basically got some soldiers together over here and he strolled up to Patain's mansion and they arrested his ass. The arrest of the Lion confirmed. A known supporter of Mordac took the stand in front of the assembly and proposed that in the interest of the stability of a nation, a temporary committee of national salvation be created. Made up of parliamentarians, experts, and officers named by the legislative body, with broad powers to restore order after months of protests, repressions, and parades, and deal with both remaining supporters of the martial and exterior enemies. While there is no constitutional provision for the creation of such a committee, there is historical precedent, and the Chamber of Deputies is, after all, the sovereign authority in the Republic and can distribute power as it sees fit. While some deputies abstained, the majority voted in favor of the proposal, and no name other than that of General Henri Mordac, hero of the struggle against tyrannical Patain, was proposed to head the committee. An eagerness possibly helped by the presence of soldiers loyal to the bear guarding all exits in the room. Present in the building, the general immediately delivered a passionate speech broadcast on radio promising to free the Republic of corruption, maintain the fundamental liberties, new elections once the situation stabilizes, and eventually the redaction of a new constitution. Despite the late hour, celebrations spontaneously broke out in the streets of all major cities as Mordac supporters were finally able to show themselves after months of oppression. Despite Patain's best efforts, a new dawn is rising on the French Republic, and the Bears' promised reforms can only strengthen the country for the war that's inevitably coming. Vive l'ours! I mean, this guy at least does come with like armed experience gain, stability, and command power. And we get experience gain over here. Political power gain. So division organization -4 kind of sucks. So I mean that does suck. And I guess we've reset our national focus here, which is a bit annoying. Great. Also looks like our national focus has disappeared, including all of de Gaulle's tree, which we were researching. So like that's a bit of a piss off. So like our playthrough is like completely fucked right now. But on the plus side, I think, yeah. So we did already get our tank research bonuses. So getting those plus some mech benefits over here is, that's not bad. It's actually pretty strong, actually, probably, now that I think about it. And so what do we have here? We have factories, manpower. There's factory. Gives us exchange economy law to partial mob. This gives us an extra mobilization law upgrade, so that's pretty good. And these are all, looks like, buffs. And this was that military tree we were looking at before. We were researching radios, so we'll be able to do this. Get the extra compliance. It's also probably pretty important. I think right now we should probably focus on like getting our industry up. Or I don't know. Compliance is also pretty good too. Resistance target also is quite nice. Promote autonomy. Let's deal with this first. Get a resistance target down. Republican victory in Brazil. Immaculate Conception de Ouagadougou. The Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception of Ouagadougou was consecrated today in the presence of Henri Mordac, governor of Haute-Volta, Henri Louis Joseph Gess, and Joanny Thévenoud, the very influential apostolic vicar of the city of Ouagadougou, whom some whisper is the true governor of the colony. The first cathedral to be consecrated in the Sahel, the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception takes inspiration from both traditional African building techniques and the Romanesque architecture. It stands as a powerful symbol of the success of missionary work within the French colonial empire, and especially that of the Pères Blancs. It is also the crowning personal achievement of Monseigneur Thévenoud, whose presence in the city has made an unrivaled impact. Arriving in the city in 1903, he immediately reached out to the local Mosi chiefs and got to work building schools, a seminary, developing the land, and implementing industry, slowly but surely making the mission an economic heart of the city, if not the whole region. 2 years after his arrival, there were already more than 1,000 catechumens under his supervision. The number of converts has grown exponentially since. As for the rumors that he is a true governor of the colony, it is undeniable that through his personal charisma, experience, diplomatic skills, and growing economic influence, Monsignor Thénavoud wields considerable influence, often acting as an intermediary between the colonial administration and traditional power structures. He has been an important and outspoken part of the Administrative Council of HOI4 for more than a decade now, and was a severe critic of the Algiers regime's handling of the famines of the early 1930s and the revolts that followed. However, the apostolic vicar has always dismissed claims of the true power and how Volta lies with him, presenting himself as nothing more than a humble missionary blessed with some success caring for his flock. We get stability off that. That's nice. So, in terms of strategy here, I don't know. Probably we're going to want to send volunteers to whoever is going at war with the SRI, and we want to make sure Spain wins. And if that happens, we should be able to get a lock on the Mediterranean out of the I guess the Commie France fleet over here, but they're not as scary as the Union Britain fleet. And if we're able to control the Mediterranean, we'll be able to get some decent naval invasions, or even just push through Italy. So maybe convert this over to a tank division. Division Blindé. I'll have that start training. I guess that'll be your volunteer unit. The trial. The defendant, who appears today, has aroused for many years the most diverse feelings and enthusiasm that you remember a kind of love. On the contrary, he also raised feelings of violent hatred and hostility. At the start of this hearing, where these passionate feelings must be extinguished, I want to insist on this. We know only one passion under three aspects: passion for truth, passion for justice, and passion for our country. I therefore ask the public to remember that while you're prosecuting a defendant today, history will judge the judges themselves one day. With these words, the President of the High Court opened the first hearing of a long trial to prosecute Pétain, accused of corruption, treason, and conspiracy against the Republic. Determined to defend his honor, Marshal Pétain prepared both his defense and his memoirs from his cell in the Kasbah of Algiers, only allowed visits by his wife and his lawyer. Appearing in court in full uniform after a short statement on the first day of his trial, asserting that all of his actions as president had been taken in the interest of the salvation of France, and that he was only responsible in front of the French people and not the High Court. The former president stayed silent as witness after witness corroborated the accusations lobbied against him. After weeks of passionate debate, the sentence has finally been given: death. At this verdict, the marshal, who had stayed so stoic, briefly showed weakness, lost his composure. Briefly, the line of Verdun turned into Philippe Pétain, a tired old man more than 80 years of age. Public opinion is incredibly divided, but it seems that if most wanted the marshal gone from power, the majority thinks any sentence would be going too far, let alone the death penalty. Wanting to avoid making this trial too overly partisan, Henry Mordac has thus far stayed silent. However, as president, it is within his power to commute Pétain's sentence. What should the bear do? So we can go. Let's just put him under house arrest, I guess. Get 8 stability. We'll get these guys hopefully up to a normal level of tank. Italian democracy survives. Okay, Edolfetier. So that's the same event that we get every year. Get 5 political power for that. That's nice. So we'll do that. We'll do local chiefs, and then we'll do the autonomy. Mother's Day. 10 years ago, the government instituted a heavy-handed natalist policy, which among many other measures included the creation of a special celebration for Mother's Day and a medal of the French family, awarded to good mothers of numerous families. Though the results of these policies are only just starting to be felt, Mother's Day has caught on as a truly popular celebration. It's now widely celebrated in schools and homes across the nation to the delight of mothers everywhere, and has become customary for children to bring home little gifts for their mothers, and for husbands to make sure this is a special day for wives and, of course, for their own mothers. In a speech broadcast on the radio today, Henry Mordac reminded women that only you can give to future generations a taste for honest work, the sense of discipline, of modesty, of respect, which makes healthy men and a strong nation. You are the source of our Christian civilization and our greatest hope for the future, ensuring that the incredibly important role of women in society is reminded to all and given the respect it deserves. Bonne fête, maman. Okay. We got that. Let's do the Trans-Saharan construction. Fate of the 400 Blows. Eugene Delangle, head of the terrorist organization known as the 400 Blows, close to the Action Française, a notorious conspirator against the Republic, has been arrested as he was hurriedly planning an escape to Portugal. For years, he had been escaping the grasp of both police and our intelligence services, assassinating and bombing at will. His goal had apparently been to make his organization's schemes out to be communard or indigenous plots to goad the Pétain regime to cracking down further, but few were still credulous enough to believe this. His reign of terror is over, but the question remains, what should be done with him? A military tribunal would certainly sentence him to death, but his skills are undeniable, and he has offered to serve the Republic in exchange for his life. We don't need traitors. Although getting the extra operative might be nice. Oh, jeez. So where are we at now with this compliance? This looks not that bad. I think these guys already rooting out resistance there. Yeah. So they're already rooting out resistance. Let's do that. Look at some more political power. So we got lots of political power now. Do this, we get autonomy. I think we'll probably use this to boost our tank, and we'll use this for concentrated industry. Wave of sabotage. Without any previous notice, large wave of violent strikes started in some of our industrial bases. Those strikes are different than what we are used to. They are only done by a small part of the workers and don't seem to have any clear motive. Factory bosses throughout the country only woke up to an occupied factory, and a lot of the equipment had been smashed. In other factories, the workers weren't occupying the factory, but a large part of the machinery was still found damaged or destroyed. Repressing the strikes and arresting the participants wasn't too difficult, but seems to be a shot in the dark, as these incidents were clearly masterminded from elsewhere. Damn communards! Bastards! Alright, well, we've picked up a radio. Like that. So I guess we can't do autonomy unless we're a natty pop. So I mean that kind of sucks. Maybe we should have went with Chucky de Gaulle. It might have been a smart plan. Where's our research slot at? Where is our research slot? Maybe we don't. Here it is. It's over here. I mean, this, and this. 2 research bonuses for field hospital. Bonuses remote mech. I think let's just go for our factories. Get this. This all seems like decent stuff to get. Get the construction speed here first. So maybe actually repair our shit. Let's go on construction repair too, actually, to help deal with that. Law of exile. Following the transition of power from Pétain's government into the Committee of National Salvation, our government has received a letter from Switzerland. The young heir of the Bonaparte line, Louis Bonaparte, has expressed interest in serving under the banner of the French flag. In order to do so, however, the law of exile banning heirs of the old imperial dynasty signed in 1886 must be repealed. Louis wishes to join the Algiers Academy and offers military service for the country. Repealing the law may bring some greater level of support for government from the monarchist camp, but France needs all the soldiers she can get. On the other hand, this may be seen as an attack against the democratic world we wish to return to following our return to the continent. Let's get that political power. IEDC. Yeah, okay, we'll invest political power into the IEDC. I mean, IEDC is pretty good to be in. Repair speed, construction speed. Let's go with construction speed, I guess. Decisions, don't need that. Nationalist leaflets in Tunis. We won't fight for the Frenchmen. Tunisians only fight for themselves. Like, this is the same event we had before. Dispute from the Senekwi. The word has reached us regarding a conflict between two churches in the province of French Sudan. Recently, a Protestant missionary couple sent out from the village of Senekwi after hearing a small community of young converts who had come under attack by their pagan neighbors. Since their arrival, much work has been undertaken to convert more indigenes. However, this has attracted the attention of a nearby Catholic mission just a few miles away, where the missionaries have already begun building their church. Local authorities had already approved the construction, much to the anguish of the long-established Catholic missionaries, seeing their Protestant neighbors leading growing numbers away from the church. They reached out to colonial authorities requesting that we overturn the local ruling and force missionaries to move elsewhere, arguing that this couple seeks to sow dissent in the region. And I guess we're Catholic or whatever, so we'll side with our people over here. Oh, can you vent? Someone's appointed Grand Vizier. So there, let's go for that construction tech, I guess. Clash against the Tuaregs. The war led against the Tuaregs of Niger during the 1910s has been successful, but led to other unexpected problems. The Tuaregs haven't been driven off of some unusual roaming lands, have been made sometimes to live in more inhospitable regions. They are unable to rely on cattle farming like they usually do. They have to get more creative. This was the reason for their attack this morning on a Nigerian village, close from the desert but fertile enough to have farms and reserves. A small Tuareg force arrived at dawn to pillage the farms, steal food reserves, but they didn't anticipate the presence of a small French patrol resting in the village. The French presence wasn't planned, but only constituted a few soldiers accompanying a colonial officer, but it was enough to try and stop the Tuaregs. A few shots made of the horse's fall, and the Tuareg tribesman falling his head. Another Tuareg was shot in the belly, and a French soldier was gravely injured before the force fled and left the village. The French soldiers got to congratulate themselves before leaving to help their wounded friend. The village, however, had to rebuild on its own. Garrison attacked in Ouagadougou. Jesus Christ, event spam. An explosion rocked the night last night in Ouagadougou. Rebels set up an improvised device to blast a hole in the wall of the garrison in the city of Ouagadougou in the colony of Haute-Volta. This blast put the rebels straight into one of the barracks, catching most of the unit completely by surprise. A brief but intense exchange of gunfire between the rebels and other nearby units in the garrison ended with victory for the French troops, but the morale has hit a new low with the ease at which the rebels managed to gain entrance into the facility. This attack is likely to embolden further resistance in the territory over the course of the next few weeks. Workers, geez, you can't do anything. Like, it's just event after event. I think we already have a guy over there, right? Yeah. Workers run away. Faced with a reduction in provisions as a result of the new policy placed by our government, large groups of native workers have decided to take the risk and run for it. Overnight, several skilled workers got up from their barracks, raided the mess for food and supplies, and set off into the desert to find their way back home. Any search for these men was made impossible by sweeping winds erasing their tracks in the sand. We must find more workers if we hope to finish the project. We really should have seen this coming. It's unfortunate. Alright, so our factories are all fixed. We can go and do other focuses, I guess. Eid. Yes, I can go to regulars there. What are we looking like for tanks and trucks? At least we have like one tank division we can send as a volunteer. I think I don't think we'll get war economy if we go to partial mob. We probably want to spend our civilian factory or on something else. La Môme Piaf. Edith Gasson, better known as La Môme Piaf, meaning the little sparrow in Parisian slang, has recently become a sensation in France on both sides of the Mediterranean. Born during the Weltkrieg to a failed singer and street acrobat, raised in a brothel for most of her childhood in the torment of the Revolution, she was nonetheless blessed with an incredible voice. Her arch life was given her a haunting depth and sensibility. Having started her career as a street singer, she quickly started performing in cabarets and workers' clubs, singing about working-class life and struggles. Soon she was on the radio, and inevitably her songs would cross the sea and the embargo. Her records are played in the packed clubs of Algiers as Frenchmen let the nostalgia of their homeland be soothed by Piaf's striking Parisian accent and tales of the atmosphere of the shady parts of the City of Lights. Some find her songs scandalous, while others insist these songs are coded in syndicalist propaganda, but the government is doing nothing to stop the spread of her records. There's rumored that she has admirers in high places. Amusingly, she has proved equally controversial in the Commune. There she has been accused of encouraging the bourgeois degeneracy and singing counter-revolutionary propaganda about the living conditions of the proletariat, though thankfully these complaints fall on equally deaf ears. Maybe we'll have her perform live one day. Maybe indeed. Bonaparte back in French soil. This morning a small crowd gathered at the docks of Algiers to see the young Louis as he got off the boat. His journey took him across the Swiss Alps and through Austria until he could find a boat offering passage down to Algiers. Quieting the crowds, Louis quickly gave a short speech praising the French Republic and affirming his belief in democracy and the rights of people to vote who they support into positions of power and authority. To conclude his speech, he called on the young men and women in the crowd to do their duty for France and enlist to liberate her from the communard yoke once more. Manpower. Okay. Second American Civil War. We're authoritarian Dem. I think so is MacArthur, unfortunately. He's Pat Ott. Huey's authoritarian Dem, so we can send attaché. Can't we send attaché there? Let's improve relations. Alright, you know what? Let's I guess we can just go with the let's go with the PSA. Let's get ourselves the army experience. We're also behind on their doctrines. Serbia crowns King Alexander II. Okay, that's nice for him. Want to build some mills there. Like, we're running out of building slots, so we will need factories. What's the one that gives? This gives us partial mob. And what does war credits get us? Lack of resources penalty and some manpower. Costa Rica joins the Entente.
Attention.
Stop that. Sete Guigno commemorations. On June 7th, 1919, riots broke out in Valletta, capital of then British Crown colony of Malta. Tensions with the British authorities had brewed for some time, and the heavy burden of the Weltkrieg on the fortress island, as well as rising food prices, proved too much for thousands of ransacked locations associated with the British. We attempted to force entry into a government building. Soldiers opened fire. The crowd dispersed, and 4 lay dead. Ever since this grim day has been commemorated by the Maltese. As the British Revolution came to close in 1926, local authorities became increasingly nervous for the future of Malta. With mutiny, nationalist, and socialist agitation or occupation by another power seeming like and increasingly real threats, the Germans being already in the process of seizing much of the empire would certainly not pass up an opportunity to spread their influence to the Mittelmeer. As such, the governor, Sir Walter Norris Congreve, called on us to secure the islands for the Entente, and the French Marine Infantry obliged. Malta was granted much autonomy in dealing with the day-to-day matters, officially still part of the British Empire, but now effectively a French protectorate. A state of affairs acceptable to both the small British elite contingent, with maintaining their power, and nationalists now enjoying something approaching home rule. As such, the Sete Guigno was made an official holiday of remembrance and hope for unity. Although no longer the headquarters of the Mediterranean fleet, the island is still the lock of the Strait of Sicily, the bastion ensuring Entente dominance over the western Mediterranean. A large garrison is maintained on the island, and much was invested to expand the defenses and ports on the island, reflecting its critical role in naval strategy. The island fortress will hold out. Yeah, I guess we'll see about that. We'll see if it will. Garrison attack in French Sudan. A game of football attracted some of the bored soldiers into one of our forts in French Sudan. The locals were playing outside the fort, and a straight kick sent the ball flying through the open front gates. Every player chased that ball inside the fort, and before the soldiers had time to process what was happening, the natives had seized weapons and held the fort hostage at the force of arms. Raising an improvised flag over the ramparts, the men were chased out of town without their boots. After they had run for several kilometers, they encountered an armored car patrol that they were able to flag down. With the help of the patrol, the men of the garrison were able to fight back and recapture the fort. Martial law has been placed in effect for the next few months, and recreational games to be held no less than 500 meters from the garrison. An outrage. Alright, so we got that. Alright, so resistance is starting to go down there a little bit. Romania joins the Belgrade Pact. This guy gives us some building slots somewhere too, doesn't he? No, maybe he does not. That was the other guys. Well, that's a bit of a problem. Maybe Total War will do something? No. Workers go on strike. Wait it out. Let's improve their conditions. Crisis on the Danube. This is like disgusting. Let's just rearrange ourselves over here. Dutch elections. It's nice for the Dutch. Like, these are some nice buffs over here for growth and whatnot. I guess to switch back at some point to this thing over here. Local police force is probably the best one. Yourself a factory. News from Corsica. Let's start in their doctrine. Like, we are pretty behind in their doctrine. Do we want mobile or do we want superior firepower? I think we'll go superior firepower. News from Corsica. This morning, a war memorial containing soil from the mainland was inaugurated on a beach near Ajaccio. It is dedicated to the tens of thousands of Corsicans who gave their lives for France during the Weltkrieg and subsequent civil war. Since the revolution, the island has been an incredibly important bastion for us. Indeed, it is so close from the commune that its shores can be seen on a clear day. Red Italy is less than 40 kilometers away, and such has become a focal point for the Mediterranean strategy of the Entente, having quickly been transformed into a major naval and air base from which our ships patrol as close as possible to the mainland, with intense face-offs for international ships occurring every other week. Any liberation effort would have to start here, and much of the intelligence and reconnaissance work done in France and Italy is coordinated from Bastia di Ajaccio. It is also there that the first waves of exiles landed, and though most moved on to Algeria, many stayed, creating a population and economic boost that, paired with the military buildup, has revitalized the island, despite perpetual tension as war looms. While there is no longer a stream of refugees like in the early days of the commune, there is still a constant trickle of dissidents making their way to our shores, each given a hero's welcome but carefully interrogated. Finally, organized crime, already an issue before the war, has become a mainstay of island life. Many destitute veterans and refugees turned to crime. The presence of so many soldiers made gambling and prostitution booming businesses. And the Corsican mafia, under the leadership of men like Paul, the Emperor Carboni, himself a veteran, further thrived on the smuggling of goods and people in and out of the metropole. The authorities, however, turned a blind eye to all this, as the mafia has proved to be an incredibly useful network of informants within the commune, all the while attending to baser needs of infantrymen and officers alike. Okay. Gearing government overthrown. Like, I think I might just... No, we should probably save our political power to like get ourselves like a tank company. Alright, there we go. And we're sending the Carlistas. Send in some support for the Carlistas. Cool, let's also support the Carlists there, I guess. Look, we're pretty late on this technology over here too. So that's a bit frustrating. Followed Madrid. Decisions available. Let's keep on doing our railroad here. Clash against the Tuaregs. So just the same event we had last time. Alright, so what do we have here? Field Marshal. Guess we'll go with that guy. And we had... Improv expert guy. I think we'll leave from the way it is. I think I'm gonna end this video now. I got something just arrived that I have to deal with. So next episode will be volunteers in Spain. Levy Freeman signing out.